Today on NewsWatch, who will he pick? Donald Trump is about to name a running mate. We'll show you who the top 3 choices are. Plus, Attorney General Loretta Lynch gets grilled why House Republicans say she shows a clear double standard when it comes to Hillary Clinton. And if evangelicals vote, we win. That's Donald Trump's prediction. Find out why he says so many Christians support his run for the White House. And thank you for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Anticipation is building for Donald Trump to name his running mate. Many expect it will be this week, and as Heather Sells reports, 2 candidates appear to have risen to the top of the pack.
Donald Trump has just 5 days until the Republican convention begins, and many expect he will name his pick for vice president by the end of this week. Among the frontrunners right now, Indiana Governor Mike Pence and former House Speaker Newt Gingrich. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is apparently still in the mix as well, along with possible surprise choices. Pence introduced Trump at what some called a kind of tryout rally in Indianapolis Tuesday night. He compared Trump to Ronald Reagan, as someone who connects with everyday Americans. Trump in turn praised Pence.
How's your governor doing, by the way? Good? Huh? I think so.
Trump told the Wall Street Journal this week that he wants a, quote, attack dog for his vice president, someone who can help ward off attacks from Democrats, the media, fellow Republicans, and even Supreme Court justices. In recent days, Justice Ginsburg has criticized Trump in a series of media interviews, calling him, among other things, unqualified to serve as president. Overnight, Trump countered, tweeting that Justice Ginsburg of the U.S. Supreme Court has embarrassed all by making very dumb political statements about me. Her mind is shot. Resign. Even Democrats have chided Ginsburg, noting that justices historically have kept out of politics. On the Democratic campaign trail, Hillary Clinton is making the most of her new high-profile endorsement.
She will be the Democratic nominee for president. And I intend to do everything I can to make certain she will be the next president of the United States.
The long-awaited endorsement comes after party platform talks, a process Sanders wanted to influence. And with the platform including a $15 an hour minimum wage and tougher restrictions on Wall Street, it looks like he did. But for now, with the Republican convention coming up before the Democrats, the focus is on Trump and who will be on the ticket with him in the race for the White House. Heather Sells, CBN News.
The president will soon meet with law enforcement leaders, government officials, and activists at the White House, searching for solutions to stop the violence between police and minority communities. This comes following his visit to Dallas Tuesday to pay respects to the 5 officers who were ambushed and killed less than a week ago. Often referring to Scripture,
weeping may endure for a night, but I'm convinced joy comes in the morning.
President Obama delivered a message of hope at this memorial service, honoring the 5 officers gunned down at the end of a peaceful protest in Dallas Thursday.
I see people who mourn for the 5 officers we lost, but also weep for the families of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile.
Vice President Joe Biden, former President George W. Bush, and their wives also attended the service.
Today, the nation grieves, but those of us who love Dallas and call it home have had 5 deaths in the family.
The gunman, Micah Johnson, used a high-powered rifle in a one-man mission to target and kill white officers. The area is still a crime scene where detectives are poring over hours of body cam video. Leading the investigation is Dallas Police Chief David Brown, the man who's being praised for holding the community together. But he's publicly given all praise to God's grace and his sweet, tender mercy. And with that heart, he offered a moment of laughter at the service as he shared his love for his officers.
So today, I'm going to pull out some Stevie Wonder for these families. Until the day that you are me and I am you. Now, ain't that loving you? I'll be loving you until the ocean covers every mountain high.
The president's visit here to Dallas provided him also with an opportunity to meet one-on-one with the victims' families and to highlight the recommendations from his task force on 21st century policing.
The murder rate here has fallen. Complaints of excessive force have been cut by 64%. The Dallas Police Department has been doing it the right way.
Attorneys for the man accused of murdering 9 black parishioners in a Charleston church says he suffers from mental illness. Dylan Roof's attorneys filed a notice saying they will argue he is criminally insane at the federal trial. Roof will stand trial in federal court in November for a racially motivated hate crime. He also faces 9 murder charges in state court. Federal and state prosecutors will seek the death penalty for Dylan Roof. On the same day Hillary Clinton shared the stage with Senator Bernie Sanders to receive his long-awaited endorsement, she was also at the center of attention at a hearing on Capitol Hill. Republicans there challenged the Attorney General for choosing not to file criminal charges against Clinton for mishandling classified information on her personal email server. John Jessup has more.
One by one, Republicans made clear they completely disagreed with the Justice Department's conclusion, trying to get Attorney General Loretta Lynch to, at the very least, acknowledge former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton made false statements when she said she never sent or received classified emails.
At least acknowledge, as Director Comey did, that she lied.
And time and again, the Attorney General declined to take the bait.
Congressman, with respect to the director's statements, as I've indicated, he's provided really unprecedented access into his views of the matter, and I would refer you to them.
Lynch was grilled about the perception of 2 forms of justice, one for the politically well-connected and one for everyone else. She also defended her decision not to recuse herself from the case after a controversial impromptu meeting at the Phoenix airport with former President Bill Clinton.
Do you find it ironic that the last examination of a Clinton in this room, the previous one, Bill Clinton, before this Judiciary Committee, not technically in this room, hinged on the meaning of the word is? It looks to me like this investigation is hinging upon the meaning of extreme carelessness versus gross negligence.
Democrats mostly took to defending the Attorney General and used their time to discuss gun and police violence, while Republicans saw an opening to show how partisanship played into the politics of the prosecution of former Republican Governor Bob McDonnell.
When you look at a governor of Virginia that you launched everything this department had against to destroy him and to prosecute him, can you tell me the federal nexus you had in that case and compare that to the federal nexus against Secretary Clinton?
Congressman, I don't have a comparison between those 2 cases for you.
Still on the hunt to correct any potential wrongdoing, Republicans have asked the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia to investigate whether Hillary Clinton lied in sworn testimony to Congress. John Jessup, CBN News, Washington.
Fired for his biblical beliefs on marriage, now a former Atlanta City Fire Chief is speaking out. Kelvin Cochran testified on Capitol Hill Tuesday, telling his story to lawmakers and religious liberty leaders. Cochran was fired in January of 2015 after Atlanta City leaders took issue with a men's Bible study that he wrote. In the study, Cochran writes about sexual immorality. His book was given to a gay city council member who then complained to the mayor and city leaders. Cochran was suspended. An investigation was launched, ultimately finding he had never discriminated against anyone in the LGBT community. Still, Cochran was fired.
My faith does not teach me to discriminate against anyone, but rather it instructs me to love everyone without condition and to recognize their inherent human dignity and worth as being created in the image of God, and to lay down my life, if necessary, in the service of my community as a firefighter. And I would even do it today if it was necessary, even in this very room.
Cochran is suing the city and the mayor of Atlanta. He is also throwing his support behind the First Amendment Defense Act designed to protect Americans from discrimination based on their religious beliefs on marriage. Pakistani police are now on a nationwide manhunt for a Christian man accused of blasphemy. Nadeem Masih is alleged to have sent a derogatory poem about the Prophet Muhammad to a Muslim friend and is now on the run for his life. The Independent reports police officials have arrested Nadim's two sisters in hopes that he would give himself up. Under Pakistan's blasphemy laws, anyone accused of insulting Islam can be sentenced to death. The law is often used to settle personal vendettas. Hundreds of thousands of U.S. taxpayer dollars went to an Israeli group trying to thwart Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's re-election last year. That is the finding of a new Senate subcommittee report. It shows an international nonprofit called One Voice was funded by the State Department and actively campaigned against Netanyahu through a group called V15. V15 says those funds were not used during the campaign, but at the time, a V15 activist told CBN News how much they appreciated the help from the U.S. He said it included a donation from One Voice and the services of Jeremy Bird, a field director from President Obama's campaigns. In the end, the campaign failed and Netanyahu was reelected. Coming up, one-on-one with Donald Trump, find out what a Trump presidency would look like in our exclusive interview. Donald Trump says he is winning big with evangelicals and Hispanics, and he predicts he'll win blue states that no other Republican could. That's what he told CBN founder Pat Robertson in a one-on-one interview about the key issues in this election. They talked about his ideas for turning the economy around, taking on radical Islam, and so much more. Take a look.
Well, what's next? Is your campaign shaping up? You got enough money? You had about $50 million a few weeks ago.
Well, we raised $51 million. I'd frankly just assume do it myself, but I'm raising it for the Republican Party.
Yeah.
And we raised $51 million, which was a tremendous amount of money. People were shocked. And we're doing very well. We have the money. We have the great campaign. We're doing well in the polls, as you know. A poll just came out with 2 points up on Hillary. We're above her by 2 points. I think it was the Rasmussen poll. And I think we're doing great. I think people are sick and tired of her and her lies and her deceit. I think people are sick and tired of watching this country go down. Our military is depleted. Our jobs, you look at what's going on with jobs where they're moving to Mexico, and our product isn't made here anymore. I mean, you look at what China's sending us. They're sending us billions and billions of dollars of stuff. That means we're not making it. We have a $5 billion trade deficit with China. We have billions of dollars of trade deficits with other countries. And honestly, Pat, I think people are just sick and tired of seeing it, and that's going to stop with me. It's not going to happen.
Well, I noticed that speech you made with the aluminum factory behind you. It was a very powerful speech, and I know it played well with those blue-collar workers that are losing their jobs in the heartland of America. That's where they're really hurting, aren't they? You've touched a chord with them.
Yeah, well, that factory had, tremendous numbers of people, and they were down to a couple of hundred people. And, just a tiny fraction of what it once was. And those jobs have moved to Mexico, and they've moved to other countries, and we do nothing about it. And Bill Clinton signed NAFTA, which has been a total disaster. I mean, I think you know that better than anybody.
You play very well in New York, and that's never gone Republican.
A little shot there. Traditionally, nobody would make one speech. A traditional, like, if I won't use my opponent's names, but if you took one of the other 15 or 16 people, they would never go and campaign in New York because they wouldn't have a chance. I think I have a good chance of winning New York.
I mean, in the general, you'd win.
In the general, yeah. Well, I did great in the primary, as you know. I won it by a landslide.
Yeah.
And that's nice. When the people that know you best, I'm very well known in Florida, and I won Florida in a landslide by 21 points. When the people that know you best vote for you and strongly endorse you, because they really know me in New York, they know me in Florida, all the places where they know me, those are the places I really did the best.
I mean, you really love Mexicans, Hispanics.
I do.
Oh, talk to us about that, because you're portrayed as a guy who hates Mexicans, but you don't hate them.
Well, the press is so dishonest, Pat, and I know you get your share of it too.
Oh, do I ever?
But the press is so totally dishonest. I can make a statement and it's perfect, and you would say, what a nice statement to make, and the next day you'll read about it and they totally cross it up and change it, and I mean, purely dishonest. They know they're doing it too. I have great relationships with Hispanics, with Mexicans. I have thousands of people working and have worked for me, thousands and thousands. And, I don't know if you've seen, but the last poll came out, I was at 33%, which is 6 points above Romney, who frankly should have won 4 years ago when something happened to him. But I was 6 points ahead with the Hispanics of Romney. I think I'm going to do really well. people that are here legally don't want their jobs taken away by people that cross over illegally. They don't want their houses taken away. They want to get good education. They want to be properly taken care of, and they want to work hard. So I think that I'm going to do very well with the Hispanics.
Well, they're a big voting bloc when you look at Texas and Arizona and New Mexico and California. I mean, you've got a huge emerging voting
Well, we're
bloc.
going up, up, up. You see it. I mean, we're going up, 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 because they realize I don't want people coming in illegally. And those people that are coming in illegally are going to take the jobs of the people that are already here and that are here legally and went through a process.
Sure.
And next, the conclusion of our interview with Donald Trump. He weighs in on Loretta Lynch, Hillary Clinton's email scandal, and what he plans to do about all the President Obama's executive orders. So stay with us. American businesses are overwhelmed by regulation. That's what Donald Trump says, and he plans to wipe out those government barriers if he becomes president. Trump also told CBN's Pat Robertson many other examples of how the Obama administration has damaged America. And he says Hillary Clinton's email scandal will hurt her because Americans are fed up with what the administration has done.
We just had the FBI director made a statement. It was over the weekend. It was almost a secret interview with Hillary without under oath. Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General, made a statement a week or two prior to that. Do you think she was tipped off about what Comey was going to say and had it all cooked?
The whole thing is so sad to look at it, to see what happened. And, you know, they caught her in lies. They caught her in deceit.
Yeah.
They caught her with the emails. 30,000, you forget about everything else. 30,000 emails are missing. People don't even talk about it. They're missing. She wiped them clean, and nobody even talks about it. The whole thing is disgraceful. And you know better than I do that many people, for doing just a tiny fraction of what she did, have had their lives destroyed.
Well, General Petraeus, look what he did.
General
a little
Petraeus
bit of
is
nothing.
one. General Petraeus is one. His life was destroyed. And frankly, I think she should be ashamed of herself, what's going on.
Let me ask you, going overseas, ISIS came into being in Iraq. Then our president pulls our troops out of Iraq, and then ISIS takes off.
Right.
Our president declines to help the group in Syria that were against the Assad regime. So ISIS then moves to Raqqa in Syria, and next thing you know, they've got this country. Would you blame our president for that?
Well, we have to get rid of ISIS because these are bad. You know, I was against the war in Iraq from the beginning. And we have to, and we shouldn't, I said it's going to destabilize. Now, nobody really cared because I was in private. I was a builder. I was a, real estate person. I was somebody in business. So nobody really cared. But the question was asked on numerous occasions. I was against the war. We shouldn't have been in the war. But the way we got out is disgraceful. The way we got out is disgraceful. And ISIS, which is a group of probably 35,000 people, is making us look like a bunch of babies.
That's right.
And we have a president that doesn't have a clue. We have a president that said the other day about something else. He said, you look at the riots that are taking place and what's going on in so many of our cities, the turmoil and the hatred, the hate. And he said, we have a less divided country than most people think. Well, I think it's far worse than most people think, actually. So we need a new president desperately. She's going to be just the same or worse than he is. And hopefully I will have that evangelical support get out and vote. Because you know what? If they vote, we win, Pat. We win. If they get out and vote, they did not vote for Romney.
Yeah, that's right.
For whatever reason. I mean, we could all sit down and tell you lots of reasons, okay? But they did not vote for Mitt Romney. If they get up and vote, and get out and vote, we are going to win. We have National Rifle Association on our side. We have the evangelicals on our side. We have tremendous support, but they have to get out in November and vote. And if they do, Pat, we're going to have a great, great victory.
Let me ask you about the tax thing. I was talking to the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee a few days ago. They have come out with a tax plan that is very creative, takes the business corporate tax down to 20%, makes the same level for a private partnership, a private enterprise. They're all the same. Anybody in business, 20%. do away with the death tax. It's a very, very creative, and they'll allow expenses, 100% expenses, when they take place in the year they
Right.
occur. Are you going to favor something
It's a
like
good
that?
plan. I looked at it. It's good. Actually, my tax cut is steeper than that plan.
Oh, is it?
We are the highest tax or just about nation in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Our taxes are so high. Companies are leaving our country. People are leaving our country.
Yeah.
We're going to get it straightened out, but that's a good start.
The president has put down many, many executive orders. We have so many regulations. Do you have a plan, or will you have a plan?
I do. So many of those executive orders are so wrong, whether it's the border and security and all of these things that he just writes, because he doesn't get along with people. He doesn't even get along with Democrats. So basically, he just does executive orders, and I guess he says, take us to court in 5 years, some judge will make a determination. It's so wrong. We're going to be terminating a lot of the executive orders. And you know, the one thing that's really amazed me in this, probably almost as much as anything, is we're so highly taxed as a nation.
Yeah.
And yet, if I gave people, small business owners, even big business owners, the right to get away from the regulation or away from the high taxes, I think they might take the regulation first. It totally surprises me. But between the regulations and the taxes, we're getting rid of tremendous amounts of regulation, and we're lowering taxes very substantially. And we're going to get our country working again. And we're not going to let other countries come in and take our businesses, which is what they're doing now.
Trump also talked about the kind of people he will pick to build his administration. You can hear that complete interview at cbnnews.com. Stay with us. We're coming right back. It is now time for your Wednesday word, and here's what I encourage you to contemplate today. There is no path, no policy, and no past mistake that can prevent you from fulfilling God's purpose in your life. So push forward because of his ocean of grace and tender mercy. Now with that, make this a wonderful Wednesday. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about, and you can find that at cbnnews.com. We'd love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do it on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram as well. We thank you so much for joining us. It is Wednesday. Make it a wonderful one. We'll see you right back here come tomorrow.